Welcome back to the Sports Source. This segment brought to you by Calhoun's. Valentine's Day is coming up this week, Friday. Folks, all over the area, Calhoun's locations are taking reservations right now. Do not wait to the last minute to get your reservations for Valentine's Day, and certainly don't forget about Valentine's Day. Make your reservations at Calhoun's, a Calhoun's near you. There's one near you. There's got to be. There's 9 in East Tennessee. Make your reservations right now. Call them this week. Calhoun's, the taste of Tennessee. All right, let's welcome in the next 3 panelists on today's show to talk a little football. We have from GoVols247.com, Ryan Callahan, from The Athletic, David Ubben, and from WNML, we have Vince Ferrari down there. Guys, thanks for being with us.
Appreciate it.
Let me go ahead, and we talked last week, and we said here are 5 targets. Here are the top 3. Tennessee got 2 of the top 3, and the other one hasn't signed yet, so technically they may wind up with him as well. But let's go ahead and put up just kind of a summary of how Tennessee finished up. Malachi Wideman, 4-star wide receiver, signed him. D. Beckwith, athlete, 3-star, signed him. And these are 24/7's composite rankings, so don't start emailing. He's a 4-star, 3-star composite rating. Zach Evans was the running back, the 5-star, who's just had a bizarre recruitment and a bizarre high school career. Terrific talent. He remains unsigned, and no one will let you update us, Ryan. Vols signed 10 from inside the state. You know, there were concerns first couple of years with Jeremy Pruitt that he wasn't going to try and recruit Tennessee, and would that hurt him moving forward, that he hasn't gone after Tennessee guys. Obviously, it didn't this year. 24/7 Sports composite rankings, Tennessee finished 10th in the nation, 7th in the SEC, 3rd in the SEC East. All right, Ryan Callahan, talk to me about Wideman, Beckwith, and Evans.
Wideman, a guy that Tennessee really wasn't a factor with at the end of the early signing period. And then this just shows you the opportunities that are out there. A coaching change at Florida State opens the door. Tennessee gets one of those final 3 visits, finds a way to flip him. Chris Winkie, give him credit for this one. Doesn't get a lot of credit in recruiting. Stayed on Malachi Wideman for a long time and had a connection there that helped Tennessee win in the end. D. Beckwith, a guy Tennessee recruited for a long time, more than a year. They beat out Florida for him. Florida was the leader for a long time. Tennessee comes in and just kind of persistent effort and gets him. And he's an athlete who can play receiver, tight end, even running back. So 2 good pickups there. Zach Evans, still a long way to go in that one is the gist of it from everything we hear. His intention right now, at least, and of course he could wake up and change his mind tomorrow, but his intention is to wait and take his 5th and final official visit sometime in March, because there's a dead period right now until the end of the month. Can't take any visits right now, so he's got one more visit left, wants to take that one. Tennessee and Ole Miss look like the main contenders now, but does Florida get that last visit? Does Oregon? Let's see who gets him on campus again before that one's totally over.
Just on a brief aside here with the Winkie grabbing the guy from Florida State. So many people think, well, we need to get Vols in here on the assistant coaching roles because they recruit harder. He stole him from his alma mater to get him. So these guys are loyal to whoever's writing them a check. Is the bottom line. That whole idea of you need loyal guys who went here. That's great if you can get them and they're the best person for the job, but that's a bugaboo of mine that I always hit on, and that was interesting that Winkie was the guy who literally stole Wideman from Florida State.
And celebrated that one Wednesday night at the Sign Day celebration, saying Tennessee's 2-0 against Florida State now, referring to the '98 national title win.
Let me ask just everyone in general, top 10 finish considering where this team was. And I don't just mean after the Georgia State loss when people said, who are you going to beat? You're going to go 0-12. You were 1-4. 1-4. And if you go back to when you were 1-3 and just go down to Florida and don't even show up, I mean, you just might as well not even taken the field that day. But to be 1-3, then 1-4, and to come back and finish with a top 10 signing class, considering all the guys they were going for, they were going after all the 5 stars, and then it looked like somebody took the drain out of the tub for them to go back, stick a drain back in the tub, and line up some guys. I think it's a very impressive piece of work. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. Now, I will say I nailed my predictions in August that Tennessee would go 7-5 this year and sign a top 10 class.
You nailed it. Yeah.
Luckily, you didn't ask me for a guaranteed prediction at the end of September. But yeah, D. Beckwith, if Florida has 10 wins and Tennessee has 5, is he of all? I mean, it seems less likely, right? Morvin Joseph, is he choosing Tennessee over Florida back in December? It's just much less likely. And a lot of guys have talked about seeing the improvement from Tennessee and that South Carolina game where they're at home. You have prospects on campus. Amari Thomas is one of those guys. And maybe he still signs with Tennessee if they don't win that game and turn things around. But you don't have to wonder about that now. So I don't think there's any question the improvement during the season created the momentum which Jeremy Pruitt talked about this week.
Yeah, there's the idea that, well, if you're bad, you can sell immediate playing time.
Yeah.
But, I did a story on The Athletic about the Knox Catholic guys and talked to Tyler Barron, whose dad is on staff at Tennessee. And he said, they're sitting there at 1-4. He's like, Tennessee was kind of not really, I wasn't really taking them very seriously at that point. And when you're in year 2, you kind of have to sell that vision. And in mid-season, it wasn't. But now you're sitting there 6 in a row. The future looks bright, and you can sell that to recruits and say, hey, this vision that we've been selling you since we got here is kind of working. Come be a part of that, even if you can't walk in and start day one like Wanya Morris and Darnell Wright need to. They're at the point where they don't need a lot of these guys to come in and play. There might be some guys who can play, but they don't have guys that they're signing and saying, you're going to have to start and be freshman All-American or else we're in some trouble. So the program has made some big strides, and you can see that in getting guys, and also once you get guys, what you need from them.
Yeah, besides the fact that a lot of the players and recruits have talked about the fact that, hey, because they're so improved on the field, it changed how they view Tennessee. But another thing to your point is that Tennessee finished on the early signing period. They were basically 5 for 5 on that day of non-committed players. Then if you look out of those 3 guys and the 2 that were going to sign on National Signing Day, they were 2 for 2 for their targets then. So it shows you they're viewed in a different way and they're able to close. I think a lot of it is stemming back to how the program is in a much different place now than it was at that time after that Florida game.
And this is their 3rd top 10 signing class in the past decade. So before anybody says, oh, you just snuck into the top 10, you finished 7th in the SEC East, this is their first since 2015. That second class of Butch Jones's, those 2 back-to-back, gave them a chance to get to 9 wins. A top 10 class is a major accomplishment these days, especially in a deep SEC. So I think it's an impressive job by Tennessee. Even with the momentum, there was certainly no guarantee they were going to get to this point. I thought a couple months ago they wouldn't. So credit to them.
Yeah, I mean, where you're saying, well, if you get to 8 and 5, that's terrific momentum. Look who you're competing against just inside the conference. I mean, it's not like everybody else in the SEC was bad. You had teams that were ahead of you in the SEC, but you still had to out-recruit them, and they did.
And one important aspect of this, I'll point out, this class, the perception of it improved throughout the year. One of the things they did to move up is get some guys who moved up in the rankings. They didn't just win a lot of battles down the stretch. A lot of their commitments they had before the season even moved up after impressive senior season, so give them credit for the evaluation side too.
Very good. All right, and we'll talk more about some of this, how they compare against their rivals a little bit later in the show. We're going to compare rosters, Tennessee, Florida, Georgia, by the current rosters and star rankings, not how they recruited, not where they were as recruiting classes, who each group signed, but where they are now, like transfers. How does that count? Give you an idea of where Tennessee is trying to catch up Florida and Georgia. Up next, though, Philip Fulmer and Jeremy Pruitt certainly sound like they are feeling pretty good about things. We'll discuss that next. Come on back on the Sports Source.